Hello, everyone. Clowns on the road. Now, I no longer do rideshare, as I've said in previous videos. However, when I did do it, one thing that was always a guarantee was that there were clowns on the road. And when I say clowns on the road, I do not mean literal clowns, except on October 31st during Halloween weekend. There were times that I saw a few clowns, like literally. It was pretty wild in the city. But now, clowns on the road are just people that A, don't know how to drive. Um, in addition to not putting on their signal, coming to a complete stop, being on their phone while they driving. I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with being on your phone while you're driving. One can do what they want to do. However, it slows traffic down. It can lead to a lot of collisions. Clowns on the road are people that not keeping up with the flow of traffic, or people that got road rage. That's a clown on the road because in the state of Texas, people can pull out their guns and you know shoot you. You know, um, there's been many stories of that. Some, when doing rideshare, other example clowns on the road was the weather. I know the weather can't really be a clown, but I'll say the weather was a clown on the road because it led to the real clowns being people just driving crazy. Like when it's pouring down raining and you have individuals flying going like 95, 120. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Again, it's their choice. I'm not trying to tell no individual how to drive, but again, the goal always when we get behind the wheel, or at least when I got behind the wheel and I was trying to help out a client or a customer, was to get them home safely. You know, um, clowns on the road don't. Again, it doesn't have to always be the people. Sometimes it can just be things out of our control, such as the traffic. When you hop on the highway, and it doesn't even have to be during rush hour time. It can just be, let's say it's noon on an afternoon, and it's crazy traffic, which in my experience, believe that it's an accident or someone's doing construction or one of the two. It's not really anything much after that. It's just always got to be aware for the clowns on the road. When I was doing rideshare, I got used to it. I always tried to avoid the clowns, but sometimes the clowns were just couldn't be stopped. The clowns, they were always out there. It got to a point where I was laughing. Even got to the point where the clients were talking about the cloud. They would say, "Hey, oh, this person can't drive. That person should have turned." And I was even asked once, "How do you deal with these clowns?" And I just replied, "I just try to avoid them. Just try to get the client to where they need to go, and that's about it." Now, the solution to that is, I will say, the later that you drive, the less clowns that you have, depending on where you're driving. Now, if you're down in the city, like on a Friday or a Saturday, you'll come across a lot of clowns. Some of these clowns are sober. Some of these clowns are intoxicated. Some of these clowns are individuals, and some of these clowns are a group of people. It just is what it is. I'm not complaining about it. It comes with the gig. You kind of like know what you're getting into. It's almost like in sports when you in a football game. You study during the week what the ops do, what the other team do, and then come Sunday, at least in the NFL, you know what's coming. Or it's like for people that like food, like me, when you go to a restaurant. When you go to a restaurant, let's say for breakfast, whatever breakfast establishments you like, you kind of go there because you know what they're serving. So they have a repeat customer. So good eating. You know where you're going. And anyhow, back to doing rideshare. That's kind of how it is dealing with the clowns on the road. I mean, if I was to ever do rideshare again, which I won't, it's the same thing now, and I don't even do rideshare. I know there are always clowns on the road. I mean, we kind of all know, don't you all? Those that do rideshare, Maybe to make money, or because you're not driving, or even folks that drive regular vehicles, even people on motorcycles, people on skateboards, all the boards. Everyone can agree that there's clowns on the road. And the truth is, sometimes you can be a clown on the road. I admit, there were times when I was driving prior to doing rideshare, I was a clown on the road. And then when I started, I was a little bit of a clown on the road. Not with my speeding, just with the energy. It was real positive. It was so positive that the client would be like, "Hey, turn that music up," and the music would be loud, and I'll be flying and wouldn't be on the highway. I would be on the back roads, you know. And some of the clients would be cheering me on, like, "Oh, I see you. You getting me there. You getting me there fast." And I always took it as a compliment at the conclusion of the drive when they would say, "Hey, you got me there fast but safely." I'd be like, all the time. I even got some repeat customers from that. But again, that's one thing that I think one should be aware of. Anyone getting into ride sharing, contemplating, or have to do it, because you want to make more money, or if someone is pondering on doing it and they ask you for your suggestion, let them know that there are clowns on the roads. The clowns are basically anything that prevents a smooth drive from you to get to point A to point B. And in some instances, it's out of your control. Like, let's say something happened with your car while you're on the road. That could be a clown on the road. It doesn't have to physically be a person. You know, like I said, I already stated traffic. Depending on the day, what's going on, there's more propensity for clowns to be on the road because folks act different depending on what's going on. So it's not a bad thing. It's just a thing that one has to deal with. That kind of makes the experience more fun in a sense because you're like, oh, how can I avoid these clowns when I get on this road? How could I too not be a clown? You know, be a service to the client, getting them where they need to be. You know, it's almost like I'm not gonna compare it to The Purge, even though that's one of my favorite movies. But The Purge had clowns on the road in their series, and we have clowns on the road. And these clowns, it don't matter what race you are. You can be a clown, no matter what kind of car you drive. Your car can be a clown in itself because it can have a malfunction that you do not know about, and at any time something can happen, which can make you be a clown on the road because it slows you down in getting the client to where they need to go. I.e., if you have a flat tire, i.e., if you need to pull over and stop to the gas station. And that's just something very minute. I'm not gonna mention something major, knock on wood, like if your engine go out, or just something that's crazy wild that affects both parties. Party one is the client in the back, and then party two, of course, is you yourself, the driver, because even after you're concluded with rideshare, you still need that said vehicle, to do your normal day of living. So that only makes sense. A beautiful day outside, as you all can see in the back. But even on this day, there's clowns on the road. And I would say, if I really wanted to see clowns, I would either watch certain movies again, go to the circus, or just get on the road. You're gonna see one or two. And you know what's crazy about the clown show on the road, the clowns on the road, is that we stop to see the clowns on the road. When we see those collisions, when we see the police pull up on someone, if we are driving fast, we may try to slow our speed down, or the client may be in the back and say, "Hey, you saw that bad accident? Or you saw those cops, they speeding?" And, we could see them speeding depending on where I was driving in DFW at the time. Like, these clowns are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Clowns on the road. I just wanted to make this video because I thought it was vital for you all to understand. I know it's common sense, but they say common sense isn't that common for most individuals. But yeah, that's all for today. I just wanted to bring that to you all. Again, this is for anyone that's getting into rideshare. May it be as a contractor, as a business owner, or one that just rides in rideshare. And last but least, the individuals that aren't even in rideshare, they just drive on a normal basis. You too have to be aware of the clowns on the road. So yeah, like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend, um, tell a lover, hell, even tell an enemy. And just comment. Put in the comment section what you all think. In your experience, have you ever came across a clown on the road? May it be you doing rideshare or not being in rideshare? Are you yourself? Have you ever been a clown on the road? No judgment. It's all love. With that, continue to have a great evening. And I'll talk to you all later. Peace.